galaxy, as fierce as any rex or raptor. Then, as now, there were armored drifters and the prowling, hungry hunters. Creatures unchanged since the distant past move towards the modern ocean. Follow us now, just offshore, to a living Jurassic reef. On the edge of a small galaxy known as the Milky Way, a new solar system is forming. Swirling masses collect at regular intervals around the newborn sun. Planets are being formed. Of the 9 planets that form, one of the smallest, third from the sun, is destined for even greater creation. This is the dawn of planet Earth. Meteor impacts and gravitational forces keep the planet at a constant boil. The lava that spews forth from this volcanic activity releases oxygen and hydrogen into the infant atmosphere where it cools. The atmospheric pressure causes these gases to combine and form one of the most precious chemicals in the universe, water. And the rains began to fall. It rained constantly for millions of years. So much gas was released from the core of the planet that much of its mass was converted into water, which collected into ponds, lakes, rivers, and eventually Earth's vast oceans. During this time, another process was underway. Sparked by almost continuous lightning, chemicals began to form into chains of molecules called proteins. The development of these proteins continued. They began to combine and create the first forms of life on the planet, blue-green algae. These minute, simple organisms without nuclei were distributed over the planet by way of the ocean's currents. They would ultimately give rise to all forms of life on Earth. The Puntledge River on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, a team of paleontologists and geologists undertake the task of unlocking the secrets of the Earth and life's journey through time.
We're standing on the banks of the Puntledge River on east-central Vancouver Island near Courtenay, British Columbia. The rocks of Vancouver Island have been forming for a very long time. Some 300 million years ago, Vancouver Island started as an island arc system on the far side of the Pacific, somewhere near the equator. At that time, the rest of the world was caught up in this giant macrocontinent called Pangaea. But since that time, Vancouver Island has traveled all the way across the Pacific Ocean at about the same rate that your fingernails grow. Some 135 million years ago, though, Vancouver Island slammed into the west coast of British Columbia to become one of the last terrains, or exotic terrains, to slam into this portion of the country. In fact, all of British Columbia is made up of these exotic terrains.
To better understand the Earth, we must look at it over a period which stretches hundreds of millions of years. The Earth is a place of constant change and dynamic movement when viewed in such a light. 550 million years ago, the continents as we know them were quite different. They were joined together in a single huge landmass known as Pangaea. As time progressed, this supercontinent began to break apart and drift along the thin crust of the Earth, moving on a liquid sea of boiling rock. For all the activity of the land masses, the sea continued evolution at its own pace. Wrangellia was but one small island that developed through this process, carrying the life forms that lived upon its surface to the northern hemisphere of the planet. Sea levels rose and fell at the same time. Continents appeared and were then drowned by the constant motion of the Earth, a process which continues today. Protochrista, the first species to have a cell nucleus, evolved from the blue-green algae about 1.3 billion years ago. For the most part, these creatures were drifters, living and growing in the currents of the ocean. They were slightly more complex and larger than their algal forebearers. These multicellular organisms began to develop complex shapes and structures. Early examples of these animals were the phylum Cnidaria, which includes anemones and corals. They began to dominate the shallow seas. Sedentary and unchanged, these Metridium anemones are as they were millions of years ago. But more steps were necessary for life to progress. And 1.1 billion years ago, a new creature appeared in the ocean, the jellyfish. This was the first animal that had the ability to detect and capture food. Its detection methods were crude by today's standards, but effective. Small sensory cells evolved that would react when touched by something the jellyfish could eat. Today, these jellyfish still survive in forms similar to their ancestors. They lack respiratory, circulatory, as well as central nervous systems. This lion's mane jellyfish is the largest species in the world and has been known to grow 8 feet in diameter. Rhythmic contractions propel it along its way as it seeks out food in the ocean's vastness. Life was finally on the move. As evolution progressed, much more complex animals began to appear in the Ordovician seas, such as the crinoids. These animals are still found in all the oceans of the world. Modern-day crinoids have adapted a mechanism which has helped them to remain successful. They're capable of moving themselves from place to place. They are filter feeders, members of the echinoderm family, which includes sea urchins and starfish. A phylum of early animals that developed parallel to the crinoids are called cephalopods, which means feet around the head. Many of the earliest cephalopods, called ammonites, were encased in elaborate straight or coiled shells. These animals were more closely related to the jellyfish than the crinoids, and as such, retained some of the features developed by the jellies, such as multiple arms for grasping food. These cephalopods dominated the early seas. They developed elaborate sensing organs that enabled them to detect the radiation coming from the sun. This radiation was bright in one particular wavelength, the visible light band. The ammonites opened their eyes on a new world. For the first time, animals could see.
Coming up, the ocean's first predators who use sight to kill. Next on Wild Discovery. See why this space could change history as we know it. Solve the riddle of the desert mummies. Sunday at 9 Eastern and Pacific on the Discovery Channel. Explore your world.
Remember the colds you got when you were a kid?
Oh, boy.
Remember how good it felt when your mom got out the Vapo Rub? How it calmed your cough, relieved your congestion? Well, you can still get the same fast, soothing relief, even ease your aching muscles. And that's a comfort at any age.
Nothing feels better.
You're watching Wild Discovery on the Discovery Channel.
Of all the things you can get at the Ace Home Safe Home Sale, perhaps the best is peace of mind. Ace is a place for the helpful hardware folks.
I've always been set in my ways. So when Subaru told me they were changing my Outback, I was a tad concerned. Truth is, they just made it better. This next generation Outback's got a stylish new body, quieter ride, and their best all-wheel driving system ever. Sort of inspired me to make a few changes. I think this works. The new Outback, the world's first sport utility wagon from Subaru.
You're watching Wild Discovery on the Discovery Channel.
Okay, that's it.
What?
I'm tired of busting my hump all day while you just sit around.
Me?
Yes, you, Bill. I put you to work.
Oh, yeah, right. Earning what? Next to nothing? Why don't you just bury me in the yard?
I don't know what to do with you, Bill.
You need help. Let's call J.B. Oxford. Get on the internet.
Now you're talking.
Hey, I found some change in the sofa today.
There are some things you just can't afford to miss, like Discovery News, the only prime-time science newscast on television. Discovery News, Fridays at 9 Eastern and Pacific, only on the Discovery Channel.
Come to Madison Fireplace and Patio, where you'll find a complete line of fireplace and hearth accessories. Great selections of gas logs to fit your fireplace will surely warm those cold days and nights. Unique gifts and collectibles will enhance your shopping experience. Don't miss the closeout specials on top quality patio furniture. It's going on now at Madison Fireplace and Patio.
Paul Campus City, look what we've got on sale. A new Class B motorhome framed by Coachman. It has all the extras that you like. Look at this low price, $44,988. Also on sale, friend, a Springdale Light Keystone travel trailer, 24-footer, low price, $10,988. Low notes, 134 months. No payments till the year 2000, friend. All Paul's locations, Picayune, Gulfport, Mobile, Foley, Hamlin, and now Jackson, Mississippi.
I'm currently standing in a very shallow stream. This stream is called the Trent River. The Trent River lends its name to the surrounding rock formations here, which are now called the Trent River Formation. Although the trickle that I'm standing in is only a few inches deep. If I was here 80 million years ago when these rocks were laid down, I would be standing on a seafloor under some 1,500 feet of water. The shales and siltstones that are exposed along this cliff face along the Trent River here preserve the remains of many different organisms that had perished and settled onto the seafloor at that time. The incredible diversity of organisms that are preserved in these rocks is astounding. I've brushed away some of the shale here to expose these strange structures. These structures are called concretions. They tend to form around any decaying organic matter on the seafloor. Most of them don't have anything in them because most animals don't have hard parts. But very occasionally, you will find a concretion that has something in it that's tangible. Bone, teeth, scales, something like that that we can find. I'm going to try taking this one out because it looks very promising. And there is something in that one. We have a lobster. This particular lobster's Linoparus vancouverensis. Excellent specimen. This animal here is called an ammonite. The ammonites are distant relatives to today's octopus and squid, but fairly close cousins to the chambered nautilus that lives at great depths around Java and Madagascar.
Though the ammonites died out 65 million years ago, a few of their descendants remain, including the chambered nautilus, whose eyes contain no lens. Its pupil focuses much like a simple camera. Another cephalopod, the squid, have lost their hard shells. They have 10 arms as opposed to 8 found in the octopus, and one species has been known to grow to 80 feet in length. The octopus is considered one of the most intelligent animals in the sea. Studies of the larger species, like this giant Pacific octopus, have shown their ability to learn complex mazes and to distinguish a wide variety of shapes. The cuttlefish is a subtle yet deadly predator. Using camouflage capabilities and tentacles armed with suckers, they are capable of hunting down and capturing fish twice their size. By far, the most varied and prolific animals on Earth are the arthropods. Today, more than 80% of all living species still belong to this multi-legged group. And during the Paleozoic, they were even more numerous. The oldest known arthropods and most common in the fossil record are the trilobites, and yet they left no direct descendants. Measuring time, tides, and the phases of the moon with a visually linked biological clock, the horseshoe crab's world is most likely as bright at night as it is during the day. For 350 million years, these crabs, so reminiscent of the extinct trilobite, have determined the exact moment when conditions will be right for mating and egg-laying. Each year, by some mechanism not yet understood, these creatures begin their long march towards the shore. The evolution of primitive eyes in the horseshoe crab was an essential development, giving them the ability to time their reproductive behavior with the tides. In the late Ordovician, the first true fish appeared, the agnaths. Though blind and jawless, they had backbones like all vertebrates. The only direct living descendants of the agnathans are the lampreys and the hagfish. The juvenile lampreys begin life as a sightless bottom dweller, buried in the mud of riverbeds. Here they can remain for up to 7 years. They then undergo a metamorphosis into the adult stage, where they develop eyes, a mouth, and a digestive tract. Their mouths are specialized with multiple rows of sharp teeth designed for scraping away flesh. Voracious predators, they leave their home rivers and head for the open sea, where they seek out and attach themselves to other fish with their rasp-like suction mouths. Most species of lamprey drain their hosts of its bodily fluids. One member of the family devours huge masses of flesh. After feeding for 2 years, they head back to fresh water to undergo a second metamorphosis. Losing their digestive tract, they become breeders, reproduce, and die. The only other surviving member of the agnathans are the hagfish. Their strategy for feeding is essentially the opposite of their lamprey cousins. Whereas the lampreys eat their hapless victims from the outside in, the hagfish devour their prey from the inside out, a strategy of deadly effectiveness. Their bodies are lined with holes that ooze slime. This slime appears to be a method of defense, as well as a possible means of predation. With neither jaws nor eyes, the hagfish may seem ill-suited for the modern ocean environment, but it is a survivor in the truest sense of the word. Scavenging across the seafloor, the hagfish searches for prey in a world that has been dark to it for 450 million years. Following the scent to a dead or dying victim, they enter its body through any available orifice. Once inside, they gorge upon the animal's internal organs, eventually leaving behind an empty, withered husk. In an ocean world where jaws had not yet evolved, the agnaths, for a geologically brief period, were the undisputed masters. Lasting for 50 million years, the Devonian period, sometimes referred to as the Great Age of Fishes, saw more design, redesign, and divergence in fish than any other era. One of the greatest evolutionary breakthroughs was the development of jaws. With teeth to attack prey, a whole new world of feeding possibilities opened. With the exception of the hagfish and lampreys, all fish were jawed from the Devonian period on. These spotted and long-nosed gar represent one of the only 2 surviving examples of the order Holostean. They were the first fish to replace a primitive lung with the swim bladder common to most modern fish. With diamond-shaped, hard armored plates for scales and long snouts lined with sharp teeth, the gars are efficient hunters with virtually no predators except the alligator. They primarily eat fish, but have been known to eat aquatic birds in the rivers and lakes that they inhabit. The other present-day Holostia, the bowfin, survives in a way which is reminiscent of when fish first began to leave the water. Often living under turbid, oxygen-poor conditions where its gills are almost useless, the bowfin has developed the ability to utilize oxygen directly from the air. This ability is a similar adaptation that its prehistoric relatives made towards inhabiting the land. This particular fish has found himself trapped in a pool of rainwater in southeastern Florida. Though the oxygen content of the water is minimal at best, the animal will survive. Its survival is due to the fact that it has tough, thick skin and the remarkable ability to gulp air from the surface to breathe. Provided it remains moist, it can survive out of the water for days, even weeks. This resistance to extreme conditions is so remarkable that farmers plowing fields hundreds of yards away from rivers have found live bowfins in the soil. Another air-breathing fish is the walking catfish. It is able to live out of the water for days at a time. They are able to move very effectively on dry land by inching forward on their pectoral fins. As water levels rise due to rain, the catfish migrate to new territories. It is believed they utilize their walking abilities to spread the population of their species. The walking catfish possess secondary breathing organs that allow them to extract oxygen from the air. These breathing organs are located in the fish's gill cavity next to their pectoral fins. They will survive out of the water as long as their bodies remain moist. Though not directly related, this strategy for survival paralleled the development of the true amphibians, such as frogs, which live in and out of the water equally well, and salamanders, which can survive on air alone as they seek out new ponds.
Coming up, sharks dominate the sea world. Next on Wild Discovery.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking to you today because I just renovated my kitchen, complete with stainless steel fridge, track lighting, Spanish tile floors, and a trash compactor. I'm not asking for much, just a little help in paying it off. Anyone? Sir?
How do you plan on paying for renovations?
Anyone?
A home improvement loan from Conseco can help. Conseco. Step up.
You're watching Wild Discovery on the Discovery Channel.
In one unexpected moment, Detective Bill Vanderbroek's life has changed.
My wife was on that plane, but your husband was not. They were sitting together, your husband, my wife.
Now, a man who spent a lifetime solving mysteries.
I get paid to notice stuff. I didn't have a clue.
Must uncover the most personal one of all.
What's the last thing you remember about your husband that you know is true?
Random Hearts, rated R, opens everywhere tomorrow.
You're watching the Discovery Channel.
When was the last time you were serenaded off the coast of Italy? When was the last time you discovered European hill towns, grand capitals, and country after country, unpacking only once? And when was the last time you understood what Europeans call the sweetness of living every day? Holland America, it's time.
When your great-great-great great-great-grandfather is William Clark of the Lewis and Clark expedition. You're raised to look for one thing when you explore the outdoors: the right partner. You want experience, someone you're comfortable with, someone like Woolrich. For almost 170 years, Woolrich has been making authentic, functional outdoor clothing. As far as I'm concerned, you couldn't find a more worthy traveling companion. Woolrich, the original outdoor clothing company.
You're watching Wild Discovery on the Discovery Channel. Con artists reveal the tricks of the trade on the inside. And catch this week's top science headlines on Discovery News. Then see what happened when 45 tornadoes hit during one epic storm on Discover Magazine tomorrow. Wild Discovery.
Some fish groups perfected their body design and stuck with it. Since prehistoric times, the shark has had a skeleton made up entirely of cartilage and a jaw that continuously replaces teeth as they are lost. This particular species of shark, the six-gill, is quite rare, since almost all of the over 350 species of sharks have only 5 gill slits. The six-gill shark prefers deep, dark water, as it is sensitive to light. It is known to feed on other sharks, as well as a wide variety of fish. The fossil record traces shark lineage back 400 million years. One of evolution's masterpieces, the sharks that cruised in the long-ago sea differed little from those that swim today. The great white shark is the undisputed king of the fishes. While the whale shark is the largest fish in the ocean. Measuring up to 45 feet in length, these behemoths are the dinosaurs of the deep. Representatives of the shark clan have dominated almost every marine environment that the Earth has offered up. They travel the timeless sea, the most successful fish to have ever lived. The polyodon, or paddlefish, is one of the most primitive forms of fish still in existence today. It is a member of an ancient group of fishes called chondrosteans. Its distant relative, the sturgeon, grows to great size and age. It is anadromous, or able to move between fresh and salt water. Half-blind and whiskered like the catfish, they spend most of their time grubbing along the bottom, sucking up food with a mouth organ that can extend more than a foot. They often live for 150 years or more. For 220 million years, they had no predators at all. About 2,000 years ago, they finally encountered one, the human predator. All 23 surviving species of North American sturgeon have been decimated by man during the past century. A 1,500-pound catch like this is now virtually impossible. At facilities such as British Columbia's Malaspina University, efforts are underway to domestically rear sturgeon. Ironically, man's continued desire to consume the flesh of these creatures may in fact be the means that saves them.
The sturgeon we work on here belong to a order of fish, the sturgeon order, known as Esopenseriformes, which is an order with 3 families, 2 of which are still living. 1 is extinct. The extinct one goes back to the Triassic period of about 200 million years ago, give or take 50 million years. The sturgeon have been around a long time, and they've been very successful. Populations, at least in British Columbia, were huge until we came along, and I suspect the reason that sturgeon were around a long time is they're fairly well adapted to their environment, and they didn't have to compete with man.
The fertile inshore grounds of Cape Cod have been fished for one species or another since man first made his appearance here. 50 to 100 years ago, horseshoe crabs were fished out of the water in huge numbers and converted into fertilizer. Today, they're captured for another, more valuable purpose. The real value of the horseshoe crab to man was not fully recognized until 1956, when scientists at Woods Hole Marine Biological Laboratory made a remarkable discovery. Woods Hole, Massachusetts has become a world-renowned center for the study of marine sciences. Here, the horseshoe crab has figured prominently in many aspects of research. But perhaps the most significant work being undertaken is that led by Dr. Robert Barlow.
This is the Marine Resources Center of the Marine Biological Laboratory in Woods Hole, Massachusetts. This is the foremost center for holding marine animals for biological research. In these tanks here, we maintain horseshoe crabs. This is a large female horseshoe crab that is being held here for our research. This animal is often referred to as a living fossil because it has basically defied evolution in the sense that fossil remains, hundreds of millions of years old, are virtually the same as this animal that you now see. This animal is remarkable for vision research because it has these extraordinarily large eyes located here and on the other side of its shell over here. These are just 2 of the 10 eyes that this animal has to see with. Actually, I'm holding on to one of the eyes. This animal has eyes in its tail that play a very important role in its natural life. If you look closely right here, these are 2 other eyes which sense ultraviolet light. These eyes have played a great role in our research in how vision, not just vision of horseshoe crabs, but vision of humans works.
Barlow has been involved in vision research for 30 years in a quest to try and find a cure for blindness.
What I'm doing here is recording responses from the eye of a horseshoe crab. In order to do this, I've cut a hole in the shell to expose the optic nerve and implanted a chamber so we can access the optic nerve with an electrode, which you see here. We can tease away single nerve fibers from the large optic nerve that connects the eye to the brain and record the signals of each optic nerve fiber when the eye is illuminated with light.
The messages sent between the eye and the brain are in code, neural code. Should this code be broken, it is possible that it could be deciphered in humans.
In order to study the response of the eye to light, we turn on this switch which delivers light to the eye through a fiber optics light pipe, which is located right here.
One of the most important findings in the horseshoe crab is the discovery of a 24-hour biological clock in the crab's brain that transmits nerve signals to the eyes at night. The signals work to increase the eye's sensitivity to light by a factor of up to 1,000,000. The eye is comprised of 1,000 photoreceptors. Human eyes possess millions. These receptors are the largest of any known animal. Its nerve transmission pulses can actually be heard on Barlow's oscilloscope.
This problem that we're studying is to break the neural code for vision. Right now, your eye is sending information to your brain so you can see. Your ear is sending information to your brain so you can hear. We do not know the neural code for any of these sensory systems in your head. Once we understand the neural code for vision in this animal, the horseshoe crab, I believe we'll have a better idea about understanding how vision works in humans and thereby be able to alleviate various types of blindness in humans that we cannot do at this time.
By studying these living fossils, we may very well unlock the secrets of our own biology. The rocks and fossils of Vancouver Island are a natural archive which details a history of geologic events through time. Here we can see the fossil record of organisms extending back at least 350 million years. These deposits contain a remarkable variety of fossils: ammonoids, lobsters, sharks, and the largest marine reptiles to have ever lived. Mike Trask and a volunteer crew from the Courtney Museum have unearthed the remains of a number of giant marine reptiles, including elasmosaurs and mosasaurs. In 1988, the relatively complete skeleton of an adult elasmosaur was discovered. Measuring more than 45 feet in length, the elasmosaur was the first of its kind to be found on Vancouver Island. Both the elasmosaur and the mosasaur died out about 65 million years ago. At their peak during the Jurassic period, they were truly the monsters of the sea. The mosasaurs were crocodilian creatures, often attaining lengths of 55 feet. They fed mainly on shelled ammonites, which they crushed with their powerful jaws. Ammonite fossils have been uncovered with the marks of mosasaur fangs on their shells. Another monster of the deep was the ichthyosaur. Shaped much like a modern-day dolphin, this marine reptile is not related to mammals at all. It's interesting how nature's reuse of this body shape has occurred in two splits in the fork of evolution. The possibility that any animal upon its death will become a fossil is extremely remote. Animals that live in or near the water stand a greater chance due to the fact that their bodies can be covered in dirt or mud quickly. Once the body has been covered in mud, the flesh decomposes and the bones remain. As time progresses, minerals leach into the bones and take on their shape. Eventually, they harden to stone. Should the area that the fossil is buried in dry out or be uplifted to the surface, the fossilized bones may then be exposed and discovered by humans. Trask and his team painstakingly remove the fossilized bones of the elasmosaur one by one. They are taken to the lab for further cleaning and preparation. Eventually, they are pieced together to form the complete skeleton. When finally assembled, it is far easier to see what these monsters must have looked like. With a neck 26 feet in length, the need for body movement was minimized. The elasmosaur is often described as a snake threaded through a turtle's body. It was believed to have paddled on the surface with its head elevated high above the water so it could view its prey easier, making for a surprise attack. The descendants of the marine reptiles take many varied shapes and forms. This anaconda lives both on land and in the water. It is found in South America. Preferring to eat small land animals, the anaconda is nonetheless able to enter the water in search of food. Anacondas are the largest snakes in the world. They can grow up to 29 feet in length. Their prey consists of just about anything they can grab, everything from fish to whole sheep. Members of the sea snake family live in and out of the water. Their bodies have adapted to the aquatic environment so well that some species have lost their ability to live on the land. Their nostrils have adapted a flap to shut out water, and their lungs have expanded to almost the entire length of their bodies. Its tail has been modified modified to take on a paddle shape, which helps propel it through the water. They prefer to eat small eels and possess one of the strongest venoms of any snake.
Coming up, an environment frozen in time. Find out how on Wild Discovery next.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
You're watching Wild Discovery. On the Discovery Channel.
In the year 2000, how old will you be? Who can do the math? You'll be my age. Wonder what you'll be doing.
Back then, you couldn't imagine you'd be at Walt Disney World, still feeling like a kid. Come be part of a year-long Millennium celebration you'll never forget. Just call 1-407-WDisney.
We'll be too old to do anything. Celebrate the future, hand in hand.
You're watching Wild Discovery on the Discovery Channel. Tomorrow, you're going on the inside, and nobody takes you there like the Discovery Channel.
She's looking around for a target. She's shopping for a victim.
Think you're too smart to be scammed?
He takes the guy's money and actually bets it right next to him.
From on the street to in the casino, they work hard for your money. Catch them in the act and see how they do it.
The person that carries a pocketbook is an easy mark.
Watch your pockets, and all new on the inside. Tomorrow at 8 Eastern and Pacific on the Discovery Channel. Hidden beneath the sands for 4,000 years. Forbidden from Western view. Revealed on film for the first time ever. See why this face could change history as we know it. Solve the riddle of the desert mummies. Premiering Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on the Discovery Channel. Explore your world. Brought to you by MCI 5 cents every day.
Hi, I'm Michael Jordan.
I'm Elmer Fudd.
Big news. America's going crazy for MCI 5 cents every day. Now it's 5 cents a minute every evening and all weekend long.
Now, a roving reporter. Let's find out how a typical American feels about MCI's 5 cents every day offer. I'm speechless. I'm soaked.
Now, Michael, so just call 1-800-EVERYDAY to join.
Is that a what?
That's a wrap.
Listen in.
Come to Madison Fireplace and Patio, where you'll find a complete line of fireplace and hearth accessories. Great selections of gas logs to fit your fireplace will surely warm those cold days and nights. Unique gifts and collectibles will enhance your shopping experience. Don't miss the closeout specials on top quality patio furniture. It's going on now at Madison Fireplace and Patio.
Paul Campus City, look what we've got on sale. A new Class B motorhome, friend by Coachman. It has all the extras that you like. Look at this low price, $44,988. Also on sale, friend, a Springdale Light Keystone travel trailer, 24-footer, low price, $10,988. Low notes, $134 a month. No payments till the year 2000, friend. All Paul's locations, Picayune, Gulfport, Mobile, Foley, Hamlet, and now Jackson, Mississippi.
The caiman is a member of the crocodile family and lives in the tropic zones of Central and South America. Despite its small size, its appearance and behavior still evokes an image from a distant age. Spending time both in and out of the water, it is best suited for hunting in the aquatic world. It can forage on the bottom of rivers, lakes, and ponds, searching for fish, but remains submerged just under the surface to mask its presence from unsuspecting victims on the shoreline. Its tail has adapted to work like a powerful propeller, pushing it along in search of prey. In the unblinking gaze of this alligator's eye, the vast darkness of time is spanned. Carnivorous hunters of the wetlands in the southern United States, they are the distant descendants of the fiercest and most voracious predators to have ever lived. Alligators feed on fish, birds, and occasionally small mammals that blunder into their path as they lay partially submerged in murky water. With a powerful jaw, short, stubby legs, and an extremely strong tail, these are one of the best living representatives of an order that stretches back to the dinosaurs. Theories abound as to the reason for the annihilation of the great reptiles. The few survivors are living testimony to the power and dominance of their long-gone ancestors. There is a place on the Earth where the process of evolution can still be witnessed. 600 miles from Ecuador in South America, the Galapagos Islands seem separated not only by ocean distance, but by time itself. Still in its early stages of development, the Galapagos Archipelago provide us with a glimpse of what the infant Earth was like. Formed by huge flows of magma from the Earth's core, the islands appear much like the early planet, desolate and dry. Colonization of these islands by plants and animals was purely by chance. Carried by the wind or sea from the distant mainland, only a small number of organisms survived past the first generation. Most of the organisms inhabiting the Galapagos Islands are found nowhere else on Earth. Even from island to island, there are completely different species of animals. This fact was not lost on the 19th century naturalist Charles Darwin, who based his work Origin of Species on such animals as the Galapagos finch. The nests of the blue-footed booby colony remain active all year long. The Galapagos penguin is the only penguin found on the equator. This is possibly due to their ancestors being stranded on the islands after the last ice age. The lava lizard has evolved into 7 separate and endemic species on the Galapagos, each different in size, color, and behavior. Brilliantly hued Sally Lightfoot crabs embody the dramatic contrast of these islands at world's end. With the exception of Darwin's famous finches, no other animal on the islands fits the natural selection profile better than the giant tortoise. There are 15 different subspecies on as many separate islands. Galapagos, after all, means tortoise in Spanish. These armored reptiles may live 150 years or more, and often weigh up to 550 pounds. Its prehistoric counterpart of 2 million years ago, the testudo, grew up to 4 tons. The ability to fast proved to be a great asset, enabling them to survive the difficult voyage to the Galapagos on rafts of tangled vegetation. Sea turtles made it to the Galapagos under their own power. A number of species simply use the archipelago as a stepping stone in their ocean voyaging. The green sea turtle can grow to 650 pounds. Their front flippers have a hook-shaped appendage allowing them to cling to rocks as they sleep or graze. The hawksbill is turtles found in abundance in the Galapagos. They feed mostly on invertebrates and algae. Hunted almost to extinction, they are now protected by the Galapagos National Park Service. Turtles developed a strategy for survival that has suited them well. With an armor-like shell, they are protected from predators. Sea turtles are descendants of the giant Archelon turtle of the Cretaceous period 150 million years ago, reached a size of 12 feet long.
Coming up, an ocean lizard's fight to return to land. Next on Wild Discovery. Watching Wild Discovery on the Discovery Channel.
Of all the things you can get at the Ace Home Safe Home Sale, perhaps the best is peace of mind. Ace is a place for the helpful hardware folks.
The Outback has finally come to town. Introducing the Subaru Outback Sedan. A completely new kind of car that combines the rugged traction and control of full-time all-wheel drive with a decidedly uptown look.
My kind of town.
Outback Sedan, yet another first from Subaru.
You're watching Wild Discovery on the Discovery Channel.
Are we shooting people or what?
Yeah, I can see a grain of sand in there.
I'm talking about millions in Kuwaiti bullion. That would be enough to get us out of our day jobs.
Three Kings gets 4 stars. Blisteringly funny. George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, and Ice Cube give ferocious performances. Sets the gold standard for all other movies this year. Three Kings is a masterpiece. Three Kings, rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
You're watching the Discovery Channel.
I'm Stephen Katzman, president of American Blind and Wallpaper Factory. We're America's largest factory direct dealer of first quality name brand blinds and wallpaper. We can save you a ton of money and ship most orders within 72 hours. Seen something you like at your decorating store? Call now and give us the details, or choose from our catalog and shop at home.
Call 1-800-353-3974 for your free American Blind and Wallpaper Factory catalog and free measuring guide. That's 1-800-353-3974.
You're watching Wild Discovery on the Discovery Channel. Tomorrow, hold on to your wallets as former con artists reveal the tricks of the trade on the inside. And catch this week's top science headlines on Discovery News. Then see what happened when 45 tornadoes hit during one epic storm on Discover Magazine tomorrow. Hidden beneath the sands for 4,000 years. Forbidden from Western view. Revealed on film for the first time ever. See why this face could change history as we know it. Solve the riddle of the desert mummies. Premiering Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on the Discovery Channel. Explore your world. For mummy games and facts, log on to Discovery Channel online. Wild Discovery.
Though actually quite recently descended from its cousin, the land iguana, the Galapagos marine iguana is the only true ocean-going lizard in the world. They grow from about 3 to 5 feet in length. Powerful swimmers, they can dive to 35 feet for up to 10 minutes at a time. And if necessary, they can slow their metabolism down and remain submerged for up to an hour. In the water, the marine iguana swims with the classic serpentine movements of the great sea lizards of the past. The iguana's search for red and green algae, their primary food source, can take them quite a distance from shore. This trip can be particularly harsh for the iguana, as the waves constantly pound the coast of its home island. The excursion is made about once a day and is an extreme test of endurance and strength. To propel itself, the iguana must fight against the current and surge to return to the rocky shoreline. Often exhausted, sometimes battered, the returning iguanas seek out the relative safety and refuge of their colony beaches. Emerging from the water, these iguanas have satisfied their appetite. But for some, their morning swim out to sea proves to be their last. The marine iguana spends more time in the sun than any other lizard, as it may lose as much as 20 degrees of body heat during its daily dives. It will require most of the day to get its temperature back to normal. With no predators on land, whole colonies of marine iguanas spend most of their lives angling their bodies toward the sun, as if searching the skies. Since the iguana's primary diet is eaten underwater, they ingest large quantities of salt, which must be expelled. They've adapted special organs located in their nasal cavities that secrete salt, which is then blown out from their nostrils. These creatures are reminiscent of their long-dead ancestors who ruled the land and the sea. In this remarkable frozen pose, time stands still for the last remaining ocean lizard. In reality, in this strange place on Earth, evolution seems to be turning full circle. Since its creation 4.5 billion years ago, the Earth has given rise to millions of different forms of life. It is a fact that most of the life forms that ever lived are now extinct. The reasons for the mass extinctions that seemingly occur on a regular basis is unknown. What is known is that every so often an organism comes along that is designed so perfectly that there is little reason for change. Considering the incredible changes that have taken place in the Earth over the eons, it is remarkable that these creatures have survived at all. Perhaps the more important question is whether or not the species Homo sapien is capable of adapting to the changes that will most certainly take place in the future.
Every weeknight, it's not just nature, it's wild. And now, experience it at a new time. Wild Discovery.